It's been responded on, but here we go. Haywood in a 1 versus 3 to save their chances. It doesn't look like it's going to be doable. The Chiefs are clawing bit by bit, inching their way closer and closer to the throne of OCN. They are right on the cusp, and it's digital. Of course it's digital. He gives the Chiefs their first ever title, and it's OCN National Stage 1. They are your champions.
Welcome to OCN.
Winning Stage 1 definitely has been a bit of a uplift in spirits after our disappointing year last year. We put in a lot of time to improve our in-game performance as well as early game performance, how we prepared for matches.
Before the start of the last stage, we took a different approach to the game. We had a look at things we felt like we were doing wrong in the way we were practicing, and we just try to make everything that we do in and out of the game as efficient as possible.
We changed up our role structure in-game, heading into the 6 Invitational qualifiers. After a brief run there, it looked promising, looked a lot better, but heading into the Stage 1 of OCN and Apex South, Fisher Guy, IGL, became available after his previous team disbanded, and we felt it was just an opportunity we couldn't pass up. So we made a roster move, brought him in with about 2 weeks notice, and we ended up winning OCN Stage 1.
I think me joining the Chiefs, they sort of all knew that I was going to be dead weight, and there was a really big responsibility for all 4 of them to step up and really start carrying me, which I think they realized and managed to pull off pretty good.
The way we incorporated Fisher into our team was kind of giving him that freedom. We allowed him to come in and be the IGL of the team and have freedom over how we play.
I think bringing in Fisher Guy as a roster shakeup prior to the season starting was definitely a huge part of our reason for success. He did bring a lot of new ideas in game and out of game that helped us, but I think everyone played their own part towards our success in Stage 1.
I think all the players were already really skilled and talented when I joined. I think just giving them the freedom to really shine.
The reason we succeeded in Stage 1 is just everyone put in the time, everyone put in the effort. There was a lot of hard work from everyone behind the scenes and just showing up on game day, week in, week out. Eventually, we did get to a point where we were burning out, but it all paid off in the end.
Winning the first stage was awesome. I've been working towards winning OCN for such a long time, and I finally did it, and it feels awesome.
So the secret to our success, I guess just making sure that everyone's ready for anything on game day.
I think something that we're doing quite inefficient was scrimming without any goals in mind. At the start of the first stage, we started implementing more of a goal system in the way we scrim, and it's helped so much.
In practice, sometimes I like to get sneaky, give intentional missed calls when I'm droning and just make things really hard on them to, a bit of resistance training before game day.
As the Stage 1 champions, I think there are quite a few good teams in OCN. It's a competitive league.
Yeah, pretty much every team, I reckon, across the board seen a pretty big improvements. So yeah, every game is going to be hard.
It's definitely going to be really difficult. A lot of teams are getting a lot stronger.
They're all tough contenders, and they're definitely going to be looking at us to try to take us down. It's just about playing our own game and trying to do what we do best.
Winning the championship has changed nothing for us. We don't want to get complacent. We have bigger goals, such as winning Apex South.
We're just as ready as we can be.
Heading into Stage 2, we're a lot hungrier. We want to win OCN again, but we also want to push for international events and try to compete there at the highest level.
I'm running out of time. I'm running on a feeling song. I'm running out of time.
And now, it's all on the save. The player heroic.
Looks to have another pick. He's going to wash through that.
Friday night, and there's no place you would rather be than at the Oceanic Nationals, presented by, of course, Samsung. It is one of your favorites, Dev Marta, and just some other guy that gets to join the desk with him. Manic, of course, myself joining him. We're very keen to be bringing you all of the action for Playday 5, but what a night we've got installed, Dev.
Hell yes, and man, I'm just so energized because of that bumper. Every single time we start with Clockwork by North Lane, every single time I come into these opening desks, just feeling like I could jump up and run around. So yeah, it could not be more pumped, Rob.
to be fair, it is an absolute banging song. And you know what's also a bit of a banger?
What is?
Say what? Just say what? You took far too long there. The standings. Let's have a look at them. Let's dive in and have a bit of a snuff out of what we could expect. Team Bliss leading the charge by a country mile. Not really a country mile. They are currently out in front by at least 3 points, Deb. Could they make it even further tonight?
Oh, totally. Like, it is just absolutely ridiculous. Bliss, they did have a bit of an upset in stage 1. They went really deep in the regular season standings, but going into playoffs, they were knocked out early. This is a team that has never gone that deep before. For them to be flawless is ridiculous. Let's see if they can retain that for the rest of the night. But of course, something really important to keep in mind is the playoffs format for OCN. Top 5 go to playoffs, but it's a gauntlet. What that means is that if you come first in the regular season, you just go straight into that grand final. Second place will have to play the winner of the third versus fourth, and then to progress to the grand final, etc., etc. So what that means is there's just so much weight on the regular stage standings.
It's insane because we saw the impact of it last season. Well, I mean, we saw the fact that Knights just got to kind of breeze through to that final. Unfortunately, they obviously just weren't ready. You know, the other teams have played a couple of games by the time we got there. But seriously, I love the format. I think that it gives teams the best possible opportunity and also the biggest reward. It just gives you an incredible a chance that if you turn it on mid-season, early season, it's all yours, right? Totally. It's all yours in stage 2. So certainly a highlighted point. I think we're going to be careful when we start talking about Rhythm and LFO now, because really they're heavily in the danger zone, Dev. There is some serious worries kind of headed their way, I think, as the stage progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. LFO, Rhythm, and even Roflcopter to an extent. These are the 3 newest teams in the league. Now, of course, Rhythm is a name you've probably seen around for a long time, but they've had tons of roster changes. Same with LFO. Both of those teams have struggled. They've only had one... well, LFO's only had 1 win so far. Rhythm hasn't even had one, just 1 overtime loss, which has netted their single point. And yeah, looking at these teams, what is the way forward for them? I think in particular we're looking at Roflcopter. You know, they're in 6th, only a point behind Wildcard, but this is a far cry from their eventual 3rd place finish that they managed to pull off in stage 1, which was a massive upset considering they were the Oakland qualifier team. They ended up a bit of a dark horse, but yes, it is a bit unfortunate. At the bottom end of the standings, still chance for redemption today.
And that's just it. The chance is here and now. Playday 5, let's have a look at the games that we've got coming up for you tonight. The Roflcopter and Rhythm matchup. I don't want to dive too deep into that just yet, but I do feel like Roflcopter have an incredible opportunity to gain the full 3 points here, the much needed 3 points, I think I should preface as we kind of look forward to the rest of the season for them. However, the second and third matchup do have a lot of promise to them.
Yeah, definitely. These are some really big games that we have. We're very deep into the season now. Playday 5, we only have 7 playdays, which means each of these teams have 3 matches left to go, including the match today. Teams like Wildcard and Chiefs really looking for those points, and I think this is also an exciting game that represents a bit of a transfer of power in OS that we've had in 2021. Wildcard is the old guard. They were dominant in 2020. It seems that 2021 is the age of Chiefs and Knights, but Wildcard have been on the up, so that's definitely going to be a tight match. And Bliss versus Order is once again a really strong APAC South team in Order, but of course they're going through their own turbulence with roster changes and coming up against Bliss, who are flawless and very well poised to continue that flawless record 5 games in a row without even heading to overtime, which I think would basically secure them first place outright in the season, or the stage, I should say. So still a little bit of time to see, but that is definitely going to be another big opportunity for Bliss.
And LFO the same. They have to start getting these points on the board. At the very least, I think that we have to kind of be asking the questions, can they go to overtime with Knights? That's really the big, blaringly obvious talking point for that matchup, because I just don't think they're going to walk away with all 3 points. But let's see what our experts, quote-unquote experts have to think about the predictions. This is a very clear-cut night.
Wow.
Only 2 outliers in Sky and Guz. I mean, Guz, that is an outrageous claim. Outrageous. I mean, you've said some pretty wild things in your time, but that may well be one of the weirder calls.
I mean, if there's any game tonight that is the most obvious and clear-cut, it is going to be that LFO one. I swear I picked Order instead of Bliss, though, so I don't know if I've been jibbed up here by Snowball or whether I just entered it wrong. I think the latter is more likely. But I think it's kind of funny when Guz picks LFO, but Ducky doesn't even, because Ducky's known to play favorites a little bit. He always goes to LFO, even when it's a guaranteed loss. But yeah, I think that those predictions there definitely don't represent how close these games are. In particular, I'm surprised not to see a little bit more love for Wildcard there against Chiefs. I think Sky's pretty on the money there. I think that there's a serious shot for them. Look, I think any of the first 3 games could swing. I think that last Knights versus LFO one is the most likely to be a clear-cut equation.
I would agree with you, but let's have a look at the a little bit more of a scoped-in look with Roffle and Rhythm now, because they, of course, are our first matchup of the day. I think that there is a very fair claim to say that this should be a Roflcopter game. You know, we have a look at their roster, and we talk about the prowess that they've brought from, you know, really stage 1 into stage 2 now. This could really be a roster that could do some damage, but it feels like they just haven't gotten off on the right foot.
Yeah, look, it's been a rough stage 2 for both of these teams, but I think in particular for Roflcopter, because we have such high expectations of them, they were the dark horse of stage 1. They ended up doing amazing things. They actually knocked Bliss out of the playoffs as well. So Roflcopter is a team to watch. They've come out of the gate swinging a lot of young up-and-coming players, Boydie and Bouncin in particular. These guys are absolute gunners, and they're kind of making a bit of a debut here. Boydie in particular, Bouncin previously playing on Rhythm. But we do have some experience. You know, OJ Camper, Hotshot have some quite a few years under their belt in the comp scene. But I think this is still very much regarded as a young team. And they are very much looking for a booster up the standings, because it has been pretty tough so far in Stage 2. They're not in the running for a playoff spot at the moment, and they're looking to change that.
A team that's currently placed last, actually, which is even lower than Roffle, is Rhythm. And really, the points in this game are so important. I cannot stress that enough. Remembering that top 5 go through to playoffs, and of course, as you make your way up the kind of ladder, it gets just better and better for you. But you really want to be able to secure any points that you can here if your Rhythm just hasn't been the greatest or most convincing. The thing is, though, we know that this team can really do some damage. I think that last week, was it, where we just saw an absolute slaughter from Bliss. I don't know whether Roflcopter are going to give him as much trouble, though.
Yeah, it has been a rocky road for Rhythm, and I'm not talking about the good kind that's filled with marshmallows and chocolate. I'm talking about the kind that you really struggle to get through, and it is a pain, and it is turbulent, and that is Rhythm's campaign in OCN so far. Even going back to last season, I'm talking end of last year, 2020, these guys were actually relegated out of OCN. They only were gifted their spot back in. It was actually Roflcopter, funnily enough, who knocked them out of that spot and took their OCN slot. But because we had Meloncat disband, Rhythm were gifted their spot back. And even since then, it's been turbulent. Stage 1 for them was all right in the fact that they had some, I guess, a lot of good overtime games, even if a lot of them were losses, and that's kind of what these guys have been known for. They have a really high skill ceiling, but just can't close out games. But unfortunately, Stage 2 has just not even been that close for them. They've recently subbed BB back in. They had Supremacist out for a bit, and then they brought BB in instead of him, and then they had Supremacist back in, and now Drex has stepped out for a moment while BB fills in. So they're definitely like trying to actively fix these problems, but it's really rough for Rhythm at the moment.
Kind of feels like band-aids on top of band-aids, just trying to, stop the bleeding, if you will, and maybe they can do so in this matchup. And one way to find out is by that map, Vito. I know that you have your dirty stats sitting by, Dev. We do love to see them. And we are headed to Clubhouse. Cafe was banned last, with Coastline just taken out by Roflcopter. in their last ban. So I guess that this is an OS favorite, if you will. I feel like Clubhouse is just the generic map that we do go back to so often. But what are your stats telling you, Stat?
Yeah, well, looking at recent form on this map, let's say Rhythm first. So they lost to Knights in Stage 2, 7-2. Oof, that is a pretty significant loss. A little bit further back in Stage 1, these guys actually took Bliss to overtime, but still lost it. And you look even further back, they lost to Noble, which is an old roster, in OCN last year. Like, not recent wins at all. Like, the last time Rhythm won this was a very long time ago. And look, Roflcopter actually have a pretty amazing feat that they beat Bliss on this map in Stage 1 in the playoffs, and that was one of the games where they actually knocked Bliss out of the playoffs, and I guess it was kind of the final act of greatness for Roflcopter through their campaign so far. So yes, definitely a Roflcopter map, but also both of these teams are bloodied.
Certainly are, and I'm damn sure that Clubhouse is about to be a bloodhouse. It's full of action, and we have a lot to get through, so let's not hold back any longer. Let's find out where these 3 points are going, because both teams are in desperate need.
Look at the players, look at that. Ghoul's got is that Supremacist's like TikTok open on his phone. These guys are mad lads. Just look at BB now. He's like, I am ready to game.
What? Is that what it sounds like? I mean,
That's what it sounds
I can
like,
only see the... I feel like it's the 3 ghosts of Christmas up there with Novaic School and Supremacists. It's so bloody dark in their rooms. It's literally, they are back, their faces are lit with their screens, and that's it. Boys, turn a bloody light on. It's not good for your eyes. Oh, Leb.
Very colourful shirt, OJ Leb says. Yeah, well, he's the only one wearing any speck of colour, so I respect OJ for that. But let's talk bans. All right, Thatcher Hibana, pretty staple here on Clubhouse. Hibana is so good for opening those hatches. You're probably going to see a lot of Maverick and Ace combo, maybe a bit of Maverick Thermite action to counteract these bans. As for the defense, pretty staple. Again, the Kaid slipping through means that Maverick will be really essential on every single site.
Okay. We have a good idea as to what to expect. Let's see how it unfolds here. Roflcopter starting out on the defense. Always curious to see what site we do start on. Obviously, Church and Arsenal seems to be a very big favourite. But we do sometimes see a bit of an oddball. A little bit of a cheeky gym. I feel like CC... Oh, you do love your gym, do you?
I do love my gym, yeah. Well, not in real life. I mean, I would like to, but I have been slacking a little bit. But in Clubhouse, yeah, definitely love my gym defense.
I couldn't tell by those arms, mate. Legit.
Oh,
I
thanks.
thought I could just assume that you were hitting up the gym left, right, and center, Dev. But I guess that it's time to get into it all, because this is where the action unfolds. This is where we start to enjoy ourselves, but we can't be enjoying ourselves without our presenting partners, Dev, in Samsung. They've been incredible. I need to give a big shout out to them. You know, those NVMe SSDs, simply the best. That's what I've got to say, Dev. They are simply the best. If you want to find out more, guys, go and check out their latest Ranger! SSD in the Twitch chat. Also say hi.
Yeah, please do say hi. And of course, follow that community vote we have over on Twitter at R6 Esports OCE is where you want to be. Roflcopter has won that, no doubt partly because of that beautiful little helicopter emblem that they've got going for them, but also the numbers don't lie. These guys are looking like a strong team, but Rhythm is making a play here to avoid this SSG room and go straight through Dirt Tunnel.
This could be really dangerous. Boydie seems to have spotted it out, and he has called for backup. So Roflcopter have promptly moved back into position. Really love the use of that new jammer. Okay. That little... Oh, Supremacist! Oh, you've got to be so careful coming out of dirt. That's just one of the most exposed positions from the top of main. Regardless, though, I will just say I'm really a big fan of how they were able to get back and deny them dirt control, but also any information to see whether they were even on site as we now progress into stage 2 of this round.
Yeah, it's one of the really important things when you go for very extended roams. You've got to be prepared for those site rushes. And, well, it is Roflcopter to find the opener as well, with Noveix going down, the ace as well. One of those pivotal hard breach ops.
It's quite dangerous. Now you really have to rely on Ghoul, and likely that will mean that Church Wall is not going to be breached. That's not going to be an option for them to fight around. Maybe they could make a couple of murder holes. Supremacist trying to make something work. It looks like they're going to be pushing down blue. BB opens things up first. Dev, things have gotten a little bit interesting, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, almost blue control now for Rhythm, plus dirt control. You look at that, and that's a pretty strong crossfire. You're cutting off the back half of Arsenal, and hence the B-bomb site. And it does leave Rhythm an opportunity here, but numbers are dwindling, and without a lot of control and Hotshot still under Arsenal here, things are going to be quite difficult for this execute.
It's like banging your head against a brick wall. It's not really going to get a lot done. I mean, if BB can open blue back up again, if they can find Campo, that might be a good opportunity. He's done just that. Now that gives Roflcopter a little bit of a nuisance, right? They lose blue control. OJ has to hard watch the angle, whilst Rhythm can get to work elsewhere. This buck, but BB, that's a big kill to be taken out. Goodness me, just like that, Roflcopter are taking every single kill. Supremacist last to remain. He got on him. Could this be it, Dev? Could this be the 1v3?
Unlikely though. Supremacist will try it. A little bit concussed now. Doesn't get the sound cue, but he's actually looking to get the plant down. He actually baits it at the last moment. And Bounson takes advantage of the open moto hatch for the flank. A strong opening round from Roflcopter and shut down Rhythm.
You know what? I'm just going to say it was really important that Roflcopter checked that aggression from Dirt then. It was so vitally important that they got back to site and showed Rhythm that there was not a way into site itself. Sure, you can make the claim that the roam, it is quite dangerous just for other players to try and make their way in any other way that is not technically through Dirt, because it's really the only open way that they had there. But it's just so important that, one, Rhythm show the aggression and show that Roffle need to be careful, but two, that Roffle show their how prepared they can be for those kind of plays. And with that comment, we do see a clash, which, Dev, I would love to see the stats on this, because I feel like Clash is getting a hell of a lot more use from these Oceanic teams in OCN and also widely in APAC South. It seems to be working quite a treat.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's become very, very popular. A lot of creative ways that the Clash has been used, and I like that it was a 6-pick as well for OJ. That said, Rhythm should probably expect this site to be Gym Bedroom rather than Cash Sys TV, because the Frost was revealed in the reveal phase, and Frost is very, very common pick here on Gym Bedroom, much less so on the other bomb sites here. And once again, look at the way that Roflcopter have really extended their defense. They've got players all the way out on the red stairs playing the top rotation as well. So I do wonder whether Rhythm is once again going to be tempted to try and just hard hit site like they did with Dirt last time. I don't think it'll work. I think that Roflcopter is really on the ball at managing a large amount of map control on their defense.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw a game, I can't remember what game it was last week, but of course it had the wonderful voices of Guz and Xenox. Well, I wouldn't really say wonderful, but it had the voices of Guz and Xenox. And I do remember there being a Clash hold that was extended out into Con, and the team decided to breach fast into Jacuzzi Wall and kind of went from there. Now, is that in range? Not even close. Meaning that Mute Jammer is going to stick it to its own guns for the time being.
I remember when Flores came out, I believe the devs said that now Flores drones will never be able to actually destroy a Mute Jammer, because by the time you get within range that the explosion will destroy the jammer, the mute would actually mute the drone. Now, I swear I think I've actually seen that not be the case. I swear I've seen Flores drones destroy Mute Jammers before, but in this case, it's probably a very, very narrow margin, like of how close you have to be. But nonetheless, it looks like they cleared the jammer just with the blowtorch instead and used Ace to make an entry hole. I do wonder, though, what is the play for Rhythm, because they would have to spend so much time investing on a full clear of the cash side, and judging by where they're playing right now, I don't think they're gonna.
No, it looks like they're going to gun into gym and bedroom side from, of course, Jacuzzi. I mean, it really just depends on what happens here. Big pick to take from BB early on.
Ooh,
oh
that's
my
nice.
God, Supremacist just deletes Campo. Looks to progress into cash and take control. Could really put some pressure and pins Roflcopter onto site, Dev.
And indeed, here comes the execute. There's a whole minute to go, but Rhythm seem to have everything they need. A nice shot there from Bouncin,
no.
makes it the double. And now a 2-on-2 is very, very winnable on the retake here for Roflcopter. Bouncin wins it again! How does he do it? He's just so damn good! And now Leb has to try and clutch, but he cannot! What a play from Roflcopter! What a play from Bouncin!
Jeez, how do you win a 2v5 in that situation? The fact that Bouncin was in a position to deny both players headed out to Jacuzzi, I think that is absolutely astronomically large. I can't even talk about how big that is. The second they get away, it's pretty much done and dusted. You've got too many angles to look at, plus you've got a player sitting on site, but it's that right there. That's what we're talking about. And Noveix has to win that. Noveix, there's no questions asked. I'm not a negative Nancy, and I'm certainly not a Xenox, but he has to win that.
I'm afraid he does. Look, even if Noveix had won that one kill and then been traded out by, I believe it was Campo, was the other defender still alive, that's winnable for Leb, right? Like, that's probably favorable because it's a 1v1. Like, the defender's got to bait the diffuser and hope to win the 1v1 onto Leb. But because that Noveix just whiffed so hard and Bouncin was really given a lifeline there, absolutely fell to pieces. What a shame for Rhythm. That was that was just a hair's breadth away from being a really, really solid round.
Yep, certainly was. That could have been the round that we really made mention of, you know, throughout the entirety of the first half and pointed to say, this is why we think that Rhythm should be taking this map. Or at least taking some points. And now with Roflcopter kind of showing us their prowess in a 2v5, that is just terrifying to think that these rounds are going to slowly and surely slip away. Now, I don't want to get too negative Nancy to start with by any means. It is only the first 2 rounds. However, when you look at it like this, it's already 33% of the rounds. And on their attack anyway, and it is vitally important that you just don't let it get out of reach. Yes, this is a defender-sided map. Yes, you're most likely going to see, you know, like a 4-2 half. That's not uncommon, but you just don't want to make it any harder than it has to be.
I think the biggest implication of that round loss is just that Rhythm really needs to make sure they don't get rattled. Boydie is very, very eager to peek that from out garage. I like this extended hold downstairs. Once again, the Clash making her appearance, as well as that lovely shield in lounge. So this is going to be very difficult for an execute for Rhythm, especially considering that Roflcopter has all this vertical control. Like, if they were to try and plant upstairs in CCTV, then there's so many opportunities for Roffle to deny it. And so I think that's part of the reason why Rhythm are actually going for a construction push to ideally execute into cash.
Might hold more promise for them, I guess. Love this from Campo, though. Very much looking to try and take this fight. I mean, the longer he stays alive, the better. That's a very big C4, all things considered, the first kill. And it also gives Rhythm just a moment to breathe with that man advantage.
Yeah, also considering it's Boydie who's gone down and actually been shut down quite convincingly so far. That's quite a significant thing to boast here for Rhythm. Supremacist is very, very keen, always seemingly pushing the opposite side of the map to his team. Oh, that is just so good. Leb and Supremacist together, they just pinch Campo and triangulate him and shut him down. Once again, Rhythm are in a very, very strong position, especially with that top garage wall reinforced. They just have everything going for them for a cash execute here, Rob.
This is exactly what we wanted to see from them. I don't think there's a hope in hell of a 2 versus 5. Now you got a player coming up the back of red. Players all around the site.
God.
That is Leb, who's just absolutely deleted hot shot from the top of red. OJ might be able to get a little bit done, but very quickly the fire is stamped out, and that is such a great round from Rhythm and a really crucial moment to do so.
All in all, an excellent attack there from Rhythm. Really, really pristine. And yeah, there were a couple of things where Roflcopter, I guess, fed them a little bit. That first Claymore kill in particular I'm looking at, but hey, yeah, Roflcopter played that really well. I like their style of attack. I like that because of the heavy lounge presence, instead of focusing on a garage into CCTV execute, they just focused on construction into cash. And I really like that once Rhythm spotted that garage wall, the top garage rafters wall was reinforced. Like usually that's one of the crossfires onto the cash door and onto the construction wall that makes it really hard to go for a push into cash from Con. And I don't know why Roflcopter set it up like that. Very weird strat. Maybe we'll get a better look at it later, but Rhythm definitely took advantage of that setup.
Now we go back to basement. This could be a point for concern for Rhythm. They really... It wasn't close, but it was close in a lot of senses. I think Rhythm did an incredible job maintaining not a man advantage by any means, but making sure that Roflcopter weren't too far ahead of them at any stage throughout the round that they played out. It was, however, a 1v3 from Supremacist where there was an attempt. So it just doesn't really show the greatest signs, but most definitely they will be approaching with a lot more calm and composure, as last time it was a bit of a dirt push early on and maybe lost a bit too much time trying to figure things out, as well as the fact that Noveix went down on the ace without using any Selma charges. So there's quite a few factors to that last round.
Yeah. And it looks like, in contrast to the heavy SSG roam style setup that Roflcopter went for in the first defense of this bomb site, they're going for heavy site presence. They got the echo, they got the smoke, really, really focusing on the operators that are super powerful in the late round and less so on the fragging operators. We also have 3 shields as a result of the Ella, smoke, and echo picks. I like this little bit of spice though from Campo. A very aggressive angle, could get punished. Oh, nup, straight out. Takes off Supremacist's noggin.
I mean, I feel like if you don't get that kill there, they might have been able to cut him off. It would have taken another player to be close to Garage to kind of get to a position where Oil could have been contested, but that's just absolutely outrageous from Campo. A great way to get his name on the board as well. He still was struggling to find a kill in that department. Also, Supremacist going down, that is a big hitter for Rhythm. And I like this from Bouncing. Just stick around until you absolutely cannot. Just leave him for dead. As Rhythm only have really a minute 10 left on this clock. It just feels like Roflcopter with this site control, this site presence, it's going to be so hard to crack.
So far in Stage 2, Boydie and Bouncin have been the top 2 performers on their team in terms of rating, and actually out of all the players in this game, they have been far and away ahead of the competition. I'm definitely going to be looking at them, especially when it comes to this late round execute. There's so much for Rhythm to do, and because Roflcopter not only have man advantage, but also this super anchor-centric setup, it's going to be such a headache to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real chance that Rhythm even get in there without having that dirt control, or at least dirt pressure. You can see there's 3 players just sitting toward the back of AK racks. They're just going to be absolutely cruising for a bruising. Noveix is getting to stick this. Now, you would have to imagine that they've got the information. OJ, hello? No one's denied it. Fortunately enough, they completely circle them and pretty much suffocate them away from this win. BB, don't you dare. I mean, that's a bit of an interesting round, I guess. It doesn't really matter if the plant goes down, right? It's still a 5v3. Just a bit too close to comfort, I'd say.
Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort there. I mean, credit to Roflcopter. They had really strong post-plant positions, not only because they had so many players in sight. With that wall open and the man advantage, it just meant that there was going to be so many more crossfires in Roflcopter's favor. Plus, they had Campo on for a flank. So, yeah, even with that plant down, very unlikely Rhythm wins that, but just a bit strange considering there was like a smoke and an echo that plant goes down anyway, but I won't question what works here, Rob. And another strong round for RoflcopterGG. Almost a flawless once again. Actually attempted 1v5 there for All-Mate BB. But now we go back to Gym Bedroom. And remember, Manic, this was where Rhythm had that really early execute, a whole minute left on the clock, and a 5v3. And it was just all shut down because of bouncing.
5v2 even. That's
Sorry,
how outrageously one-sided that round was. You know, not to discredit anything that Roffle have done, nor your statistics, let's be completely honest there. But the fact that it was such a monstrous just body of a round from Rhythm does make you beg the question, you know, if that had gone the way of Rhythm, could we have seen them walking away with this half? You know, it's so possible. They were looking so damn confident on Cash and CCTV that you just, you know, it would be a completely different story right now. But we'll pocket that one and move on and hope that we can see a similar approach from Rhythm. Maybe just a better answer from Roffle though.
Well, Roffle have actually switched up their operators, something that this team really likes to do. We saw it in the difference between their two Church Arsenal defenses. They went from full roam to full turtle with a little bit of aggro from Campo. This time on their Gym Bedroom defense, they've ditched the Clash and the Frost and brought the Goyo and a Rooney instead. Another bit of aggression there from Bouncin. Impact doesn't do any damage. It was looking for a Claymore and for that drone. Would have got the drone. Not sure about the Claymore. Ooh, Ghoul's worried about a C4. Doesn't have a teammate there to cover him. OJ's going to rotate. No, he's just fixing his shield placement. Very, very meticulous on that one. But see if Rhythm once again can find this strong entry.
Definitely feels like their setup at the early round is quite good. Rhythm get into a decent position as early as humanly possible, and then from there it's just about the timing of everything else. Now, BB, surely that Rotero drone won't be able to take it out. No, it's too much of a long angle for them to try and get that deployable shield at the top of Red, but
Always good trying to go through the drone hole.
I love that. That's much better. That's really clean. I love
that.
That
was so cheeky. That was some like off-road business kind of there. Like really cheeky stuff. I like that. Ooh! Oh, but that is a shot and a half from OJ, and Supremacist is down for the count.
You know what? There's actually no count for him. He's done. He's sidelined. He's benched for the round. BB might continue to push on the back of it as well. They just need to be cautious here because, I mean, it's Bouncin you are going up against. He is known to be hard to handle player is probably just the most PG way I can put it. As Campo now looks to rotate back towards site and maybe bunker down a little bit more.
.5v4 though for RoflcopterGG. Even though they forfeited a lot of this map control, they're retaining that man advantage. That's really, really strong. Of course, with cash control and CCTV control in the attacker's hands, it means that Leb can play on this balcony and really cut off a lot of these positions, but not every position. And that does mean RoflcopterGG still have a bit of mobility inside.
Oh, I really like this call! Hot shot!
What?
Triple C4! That locks the round away, and there's no chance for Rhythm. There's no way back. That's unreal.
What a C4 play from Hotshot. And my God, that was just such an explosive round. Quite literally shut down before I think Rhythm really knew what hit them. A 3K C4 in Logistic Office. I'm going back and watching right now, trying to figure out whether that was pre-placed. I believe it was.
Surely.
It was, because Hotshot was playing at top red stairs. He must have put that down there in the prep phase, just waiting for the sound cue of those people to drop it. He got a whole lot more than he expected.
I was honestly about to tell the tale of Rhythm dropping into logistics, busting onto site with Leb putting pressure from the balcony. Not even close, Dev. Not even close. Hotshot had other plans, but so do Rhythm. This is their tack timeout, and one that is very much needed. I mean, 5-1. Not good. Not good, Dev.
Certainly not good for Rhythm, especially considering that first gym and bedroom attack from them really should have been their round. Losing a 5 versus 2 with the plant down. Really, really concerning stuff here for the team currently sitting at the bottom of the OCN Stage 2 standings. They really should be at a 2-3 at the moment and gunning for a 3-3 half, which would be a win in my eyes, then winning the half. But the fact that it's on the cards here for a 5-1, the fact that the best they can hope for is a 4-2, well, they better get it, because if not, this is going to be an almost unwinnable game, in my opinion.
Not going to lie, I forgot that we even had replays. Unreal. How good. How good. It's great to see. That's an unreal triple C. I mean, those are that's what dreams are made of right there for Hotshot. And I would just love to see the cheeky grin. Just the cheeky grin. That, like, what do you even do in that case? It's just perfectly timed, perfectly placed, and all round. That may well have just netted Roflcopter a huge lead here. If they can capitalize and go 5-1, oofed, is all I've got to say. Oofed.
100% Roflcopter going to be very, very content with themselves right now. That said, this is the bomb site they struggled on the most. Now, I wouldn't mind getting a good look here at their setup around garage and see if they've double reinforced the rafters wall again. I can't quite tell from this angle. No, they've actually got the lines of sight this time. So at the very top on the next floor, we can see the rafters wall. There are some holes. Last time they double reinforced this for some reason, which is a bit of a strange setup because it does really limit what the rafters player can do to actually affect a construction side push. They must have used a lot of reinforcers off-site though, because they didn't reinforce all the bot garage walls, which does mean BB can breach that for free as well.
Them once again, in the first 2 minutes, they have garage wall open. They also have kennels wall open, and they can start to make a bit more of a clearer decision. That was really dangerous by Ghoul. Granted, kind of in a way, his job's done as the Maverick. You still don't want to be dropping a player down by any means. You've still got the 2 nades, plus the impact that you can have. Now, as this round slowly and surely ticks away, Rofl will be begging for an opening here. They don't have the smoke, they don't have the echo to hold, but they do have 3 C4s that they may be able to play for. Oh!
Very nice run out denial there from Leb. Boydie once again has been shut down. Really, really has been struggling this game so far, Rob. And that's a concern for Roflcopter because he is statistically their best player.
Which is crazy that they're still 4-1 up in this matchup. The fact that they are not calling upon Boydie and players like Hotshot and OJ are both stepping up. Bouncin as well, but I feel like it's more expected from Bouncin. Speak of the devil, and he shall damn appear. He's straight back on the scoreboard again, and Rhythm are just falling to pieces here, Dev.
Once again, it looks like Roflcopter might have Rhythm's number. Campo's still roaming in stock. And that does leave us in a position where Rhythm is clutching at straws, desperately hoping for a win here. There's another player in bar. They're looking up through the hatch. Campo has such a strong position. Just about nothing that Rhythm can do here except go big.
Oh, go big through the choke points is all they've got left. BB left on his lonesome. He can't find anything, and Roflcopter storm away with the first half. Not looking good for Rhythm right now. And that's a nice way of putting it. 5-1. And sure, as we were saying, defensive-sided map, you feel a little bit more comfortable with the Church Arsenal defense, even really things like your CCTV. That generally is pretty comfortable. But I just don't know if this is even in the realm of us being convinced that they could have a close enough affair to push this to overtime. And mind you, again, that this probably sounds all doom and gloom. The problem is it is getting to a point where it is doom and gloom. Rhythm are only on 1 point for the entire season. We're in Playday 5 so far. I mean, the fact that they finished 6th in Stage 1 gives them a little bit more of a boost, if you will, but this is just not a good affair for them whatsoever.
Yeah, there is also relegation on the cards. Rhythm have been relegated once before, so I wouldn't be saying that they're safe from that, and they need every point they can get, and so far they only have 1. Yeah, I mean, even just for them to push overtime, they've got to have a 5-1 half of their own here, which I don't see that happening. Now, they've got a chance to, I guess, prove me wrong, but it'll start here on the opening Church Arsenal defense. A very, very classic SSG-style roam here. Lots of reinforcements on the top floor. The Mute present, the Castle also present. With some util on site as well, like the Malusi, to really make sure that a site rush can't be possible. But Roflcopter are going to address the roam head-on. And that's already the first kill. If you make the rotation, the left side is just completely exposed. And Roflcopter know what they're doing.
It's so strange. I mean, Noveix knows that he was seen on the drone, so that rotate was surely not in a safe vein, regardless. 2-man advantage. Roffle really have... I mean, they don't have a lot to do here, I'll be completely honest. They find another kill. There's only 2 on site, and it looks like Leb's been spotted. Is his rotate cut off from Bathroom? It doesn't look like OJ was going to force that issue by any means. They've already taken bar control. Slowly and surely, they'll start to put the vertical pressure on to any player that wishes to sit on site, which right now is all 3 of them. Rhythm would be feeling uncomfortable.
Certainly will be. Now let's see how this breach of the kitchen hatch goes. Looks like no one is there to impact trick. It looks like there aren't even holes. Very strange. I don't know why you'd be bringing 2 impacts on Ghoul and 2 on Leb if you're not going to do that, but maybe it's just the fact that they lost so many people early that both Ghoul and Leb have to actually rotate away and can't fulfill their own job of impact tricking that hatch.
Drones slowly dwindling. Only 2 out on the field. Make that 1 out on the field and 1 in the pocket. My God, I can't speak quick enough. There's only 2 drones left. We'll just say that right now. 30 seconds. Although there's 5 crosshairs, they need to convert these kills. They've still got the smoke up on the board. 1 more smoke fade to go out after that one's been detonated. I'm starting to believe, Dev, this could be possible, but OJ may just be the bearer of bad news.
Roflcopter just have to monster this, though. Even though they don't have much info, they have the man advantage still on their side. That's a big pick from Bouncin. It is all on BB now, and he is shut down. Rob, this match has barely started, but Roflcopter's looking to make it a quick one. They are on match points.
They got things to do on a Saturday night, Dev, apparently. They've got
it's
places.
Actually pretty early. They could go out,
Yeah.
they could go out clubbing or go to the bar, whatever.
They've got places to be, people to see. I tell you what, this is one of the quicker matches that we may well see. And
the night is but young.
It is but young, my Dev Marta. I mean, by the time we're finished, it may not be, but...
Don't jinx it, mate. Don't jinx it.
Before 12?
No, you're not. You just said it, mate. You just said it.
Yeah, but I'm cruising. I got to sleep in tomorrow, so it's okay. These guys aren't even looking. They will still be awake by the time that I wake up in the morning. That's the kind of night they're planning to have by the looks of it. But really, Rhythm, let's bring this down a notch, because that is your basement defense. That should be, I'm not going to say it should be your bread and butter, but it should be your bread and butter. This should be the site that really gives you the most confidence on this map.
Yeah, well, I mean, those basement defenses, when you invest in a really heavy roam like they did, they live and die by the roam. And they lost 2 players to the roam and didn't find anything off of it. And also the fact that they impact trick players, Leb and Ghoul, Leb and, I don't remember who the one I was, they both backed off. And so it, 5 seconds left before insertion. Nothing went right for them. Nothing.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And it doesn't feel like much more is going to go right for them at this point. What do they got to offer? A less roam-heavy strategy, although they still have one sitting up toward logistics, I believe it was, where he may well have backed away as well. Conceding any kind of control on second and first floor. They may well just play for the deep, deep game, the deep round. Although Novaics, don't go up there with the smoke. Do not die this early on.
Yeah, well, at least the fact that Rhythm are going for a more passive anchor or turtle strat, it means that we're testing Roflcopter further, right? Like, because we see that Roflcopter can... What? No! Please, please! Campo survived that with about 3 HP left. He is a lucky one.
That he is. And I was really curious to see what Supremacist was trying to do. I thought that there may have been a punch hole, a melee hole toward the end of Dirt. It is, however, just him contesting the long angle. I guess it gives you something more to play with, more time to back away if they don't even attempt to open it. And it will certainly bring more comfort and composure toward the back of the site, toward AK if they need it. Which right now, all things considered, Roflcopter slowly but surely getting to the demolition of the floor. They have plenty of time to really displace these members on site.
Yeah, especially because Campo's now cleared out Armory with the Buck. Now, I feel like Rhythm probably should have just gone and contested him through the vertical holes really, really strongly and persistently because of that early pick. Or rather, the early damage they did onto Campo. But now, Roflcopter have made excellent progress. BB is really put under the pump here, but that is an aggressive retake from Novaics, enabled by the smoke and the C4, and they find the opening pick. That said, it's not all over yet for Roflcopter as they regain that man advantage.
No, it might not be over just yet, but it's certainly coming to its conclusion. By the looks of it, they're trying to fight back, but they don't have enough. Roflcopter, they absolutely run away with the map, 7-1. What a dominating performance from them, and a great statement for the next 2 play days that they have coming.
What a match for Roflcopter to get themselves back on the scoreboard and rocket up the standings, sitting on 7 points now, tied with Knights and Order. This is big for these guys. They really, really set a high bar for themselves in Stage 1, ending 3rd through playoffs. And, well, now they are starting to show that that was not a fluke.
Certainly wasn't. They have to be able to do these kind of performances against other teams as well before we really start to talk about that Stage 1 from them, because really the fact that we've only seen them in 2 stages in Tier 1 Siege, Dev, regardless, you know, them as a full roster, we've seen plenty of them, you know, kind of bit-bopping about throughout the years, but the fact that we're now seeing 2 stages of them where they are convincing us that 1, they definitely deserve to be here, but even 2, that they might be able to start competing at a higher level than what we originally anticipated. It's great news for 1, them, but also our scene.
Yeah, definitely. Roflcopter are a shining example of a team that kind of came out of nowhere. And while, yes, there are some experienced players on the roster, particularly Hotshot and OJ, also Campo, you're looking at players like Bouncin. He's only had, well, he started playing like at this level just at the end of 2020. This is Boydie's first season in terms of his year playing in comp. So this is really, really fantastic stuff that Roflcopter is demonstrating here. You can be an up-and-coming team and make a massive impact.
Can. You're just seeing the impact that every single player on their team had. Boydie right now, I mean, look at the scoreboard. Roflcopter really held their own weight this game, that's for sure.
He finished off 2 and 7 with their highest rated player playing support and bottom fragging. It's pretty amazing there for Roflcopter. What's, I guess, a shame out of all of this, Rob, is that was a really valiant effort from Rhythm, especially their defense half. Their attack half, rather. Their attack half was really, really nice. Like, they only won a single round, but I think there was like 3 rounds that they probably should have won. 1 they definitely should have won, and then a couple others they definitely could have. And I think that is unfortunately the story for Rhythm all of this stage is that, man, they look good during the rounds, but they cannot close rounds, they cannot close games, and to not even win a single defense on Clubhouse Basement is pretty horrific as well. So Roflcopter, a well-deserved win. Bouncing 11 kills and 2 deaths.
That is just unreal from Bouncing. Something that we have come to expect from him as a player. You know, there's a lot of love for him in the Twitch chat. We've seen it multiple times, but the fact that he really does put up numbers like that is terrifying to think. You know, he's up there with the likes of what we talk about when we speak about Jigsaw and Repix, Worthy. I mean, maybe Worthy is a bit out of reach at the moment. He kind of feels like he's on his own level in Siege as an individual player. But the Roflcopter players, all of them to their own credit, do have a claim. They do have that ability to kind of pop off at any moment, and we've seen it tonight. 7-1. That is the kind of performance that really starts to make you think they're going somewhere.
Definitely. It's exciting times to be a Roflcopter fan. I just want to know when they're going to get picked up and who they're going to get picked up by. So if you are an organization interested in an Oceanic team that is rocketing up, flying high but not too high, Roflcopter might be the team for you. Also, if you're just a fan who loves an underdog story, who likes a dark horse, this is definitely a team that I would be looking out for. Definitely a team you can get behind. The players also not afraid of a bit of banter, a little bit of smack talk, and yeah, they're pretty funny characters overall.
There they are. We'll see what smack talk OJ brings to the table today, because we got him for the interview. Let's have a chat with him, get into this one. OJ, welcome in. You are the only person out of the entire team, both Rhythm and Roflcopter, that are wearing any color. What gives with the orange?
Oh, I got home from work. It was on my bed. I put it on and then I got into a tea hunt.
I thought there was going to be something better than that. Better than that, OJ. But no, let's talk about your performance now. Let's stop talking about that colored shirt of yours. 7-1 is an outstanding victory from you guys. Kind of felt like you were firing on all cylinders. Did it feel like that?
Yeah. No, it definitely felt good. I feel some rounds we didn't deserve to win, but then, I don't know, the way things eventuated, we just got the picks back that we needed. Bouncing's nuts. I don't know, I'm in a 2v4 on Clash, I blink and like all of a sudden we're in a 1v2, so, or 2v1, so props to him, but yeah, it was a good win.
Yeah, it certainly was, and I guess after stage 1, stage 2 hasn't been quite as fast for you guys as you would have liked. Currently, well, up until tonight, you were sitting just outside the playoffs positions. With that win, you do rocket up. Of course, other teams are yet to play tonight. So how confident are you feeling of making playoffs again, and how deep do you think you could get in the playoffs should you make it there?
I mean, I'm going to say obviously that we can go all the way. We just need to get the playoffs first. We didn't start our season off too well. But yeah, I'm pretty confident we can make it. And, you know, we've kind of gone back to the basics, keeping it simple kind of stuff. We were trying to do a little bit too much at the start of the season, but as soon as we started to simplify stuff, yeah, we're a lot more cohesive, and yeah, I guess it's starting to show.
If you don't mind me asking, I'm curious to hear what you mean by simplify. Are you talking about in the structure of your team, or in kind of the communication, the roles? What is it that's kind of changed to simplify it?
It sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but literally everything. We tried to get a bit fancy with the roles, swapping it up just for reasons that we didn't need to. And, you know, we kind of felt like it wasn't working as well as it should have. But yeah, we definitely tried to work on our comms, making them as simple as possible. Just leaving the late round open for people to just play and go off a bit. But yeah, so literally keeping it simple, focusing on the basics, and that'll take us pretty far.
So you mentioned that, you know, you looked at different things you could change. Is it just you 5 players that do a lot of the legwork in terms of really the brains behind the operation, or do you have any other kind of support staff that are behind it? And I guess, what is that whole process? Who are the most active and vocal members of the team?
It's just us. We had Cynics, but he's no longer coaching us. But it's not really a big deal for us. It's normally Hot and I that would do most of that kind of stuff, but all the boys chip in so much. Everyone's always coming with new ideas, stuff like that. So it definitely is like all 5 of us are definitely contributing, but yeah, it's just us on
It
our
seems
own, I
like
guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, to be fair, it seems like you're flying high, but not too high. Now, very quickly, do you have anything that you'd like to say to any potential org owners that are looking for a Rainbow Six team in the Tier 1 ANZ region?
Hit us up. We're going hard. We're trying to get to as far as we can go, whether that be South or whatever the league is next season or next year. But yeah, we're going to give it a good hard crack and see where we are at the end of the year. So that's really it. Just
Yeah.
hit us
Yeah.
up.
Orgs, get on board with the boys. They're going places. Well, OJ, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on your victory. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Again, cool, calm, composed, but seriously, if there are orgs out there thinking about getting into the Tier 1 ANZ scene for Rainbow Six, don't look any further than RoflcopterGG. You could literally talk to any of us as commentators and we will tell you how impressive that they've been since they kind of exploded onto the scene. And I think that's probably the best way of saying it. They really have just kicked down the door, haven't they?
Yeah, and I'm just going to go out and say it straight up. The most talented and successful and most promising orgless team currently in the OS region, like hands down. So yeah, if you're looking for an orgless team to pick up, it is RoflcopterGG, and they should be the first on your list. So yeah, also OJ, just really well spoken. I loved his interview. And yeah, it's nice that he did wear a little bit of color, because I wasn't sure if we just had like the saturation set wrong or something, but no, he's a colorful dude.
With such little light, you wouldn't really know what color that t-shirt is, would you? You've got no clue. But I'll tell you what we have a clue about. That's what's coming up next. It's going to be an absolute banger. It's Chiefs taking on Wildcard. Don't you dare go anywhere.
Welcome to GTV ANZ, the gaming channel created by Ubisoft. Every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube, we'll be doing fast plays, game challenges, 1v1 face-offs, and so much more. You happy?
When did we get a dog?
It's a good question.